Hello friends! I've had some requests to include more meat and poultry dishes in a weekly challenge video. So I was wondering what delicious recipes I could make this week. I'm feeling especially inspired by the cold weather. I did do some homework and I found one of the most popular cooking light recipes of all time. It's a honey glazed barbecue spice chicken dish. Because I've planned a menu filled with meat dishes that I know my family will love, I planned this menu for at least 2 people. Some of the meals made 6 to 8 servings. I'll list the servings amount in the description of my video. As always, you can customize this for your own family size. I'll be making a hearty Mexican cornbread casserole. I'll also be making a Turkish-inspired lentil soup, and I'll be making Pozole verde, a soup that's been on my bucket list for a while. This menu did feel quite exorbitant. I had lots of food left over, and I'm sure I could have prepared fewer meals, but I was in the mood for a variety this week, and I really wanted to make that pozole soup. I did tweak my menu a little bit after filming this. As far as what I ended up cooking, I actually didn't need that chicken broth at all, and I didn't end up using the green chilies, but I also added in a can of black beans. So make sure that you check the description. I will have the ingredients list as well as prices for you in the description. Some of these items, like the rice, I already had on hand, but I went ahead and measured it out. I'm adding in the price that you could purchase those at Walmart. Same thing with these tomatoes. I actually got these on sale for quite a deal actually a few months ago, but I'm charging today's prices on all of these. Walmart has these Jiffy corn muffin mixes on sale at 52 cents this week. So I also picked up a few more of these. I think I got mine on sale for 37 cents each a few months ago. So I'm still using those, but I did pick up a few more at Walmart. I purchased an entire jar of honey just because we'll be using that quite a bit this week. That was $4 out of the budget, but because we were using so much of it, I wanted to go ahead and charge the full $4 in the budget. All right, let's get right into the recipes. I enjoyed this meal, but I knew I would because I've made this before. It's a nice balance between the sweet of the cornmeal pancakes and the savory of the other items. Sour cream is not needed here. I just used the table cream to help dress up the plate. I did add some tapatio, which I thought was a nice addition, but you can add whatever your favorite hot sauce is. I'll put the rest of the corn pancakes in the fridge, and it'll make for easy weekday breakfast. Next up, I'm making one of Cooking Light's most popular recipes of all time, 5-star spicy honey brush chicken thighs. I've removed the skin and deboned the chicken. I also filleted the thigh so that all parts of the chicken are about the same. If you need to, you can watch a video on how to do that. I'll be saving the chicken thigh and bones to make a chicken stock later, which will not be included in this video. Normally, if you're trying to save money in the budget, I don't recommend making dishes where the meat is the star of the show. However, thighs are inexpensive and it did fit into my budget this week. I'm always excited when I find a recipe that is so highly rated, and I really think my family's going to enjoy this. Place your oven rack in the top position. I am going to be using my regular oven for this just to make sure I get more even heating. And after 5 minutes, I'm going to turn over the chicken and broil it for another 5 minutes. I noticed in some of the comments on these recipes that some people grilled these, so I'm sure you can do that as well. You'll just need to be careful of burning. And now is my favorite part, adding that honey cider sauce. It's going to give it a sweet and tangy layer of flavor over that spice mixture. So we'll brush this on the chicken and then we'll broil it for 1 minute, and then we'll turn it over and we'll add the mixture to the other side and then grill it for another minute. Anytime you're adding sugar, the sugar can definitely burn easily. However, I will say that I didn't have any problems with the chicken burning. What I did have problems with was trying to keep people's hands off my chicken long enough for me to plate it for my video. Cooking these made my house smell so good that everyone was coming into the kitchen and grabbing these and trying to eat them as soon as they came out of the oven. They were very tender and juicy, and I don't recommend using chicken breasts here in place of the thighs because I do think they would dry out. I can definitely understand why this has been such a popular recipe. It's super easy to make and you can get it on the table in less than 30 minutes. Really, the most time-consuming part was deboning the chicken thighs. If you want to buy them already deboned, you can do that. It's just going to cost a little bit more. If you want to see more recipes like this that fit into a low weekly budget, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Make sure to hit the notifications tab so you'll be alerted when I release my next video. Next up, I'm making a lentil soup. There are lots of recipes on the internet for Turkish lentil soup that includes these ingredients. However, I'm going to go ahead and call this a fusion recipe because I don't believe the original Turkish soup calls for cumin or vegetable bouillon. Also, I do believe that bulgur is frequently used in the original. We don't have that here, but it's going to be great. As always, the ingredients and recipe will be in the description of my video. The star of the show in this dish really is the red lentils. They are both quick cooking and high in protein, fiber, thiamine, niacin, vitamin B6. They've got 37% of your daily value of iron. They have magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, copper, and manganese. So nutritionally, these really pack a punch. And I just started using red lentils not too long ago. One of my viewers mentioned the Turkish lentil soup to me, and I had written it in my notes, so this has definitely been on my bucket list for a while. I'm excited to try this. If you're new to my channel, this is probably a good time to let you know that one of the ways I save money on food is by using ingredients across several meals during the week and making sure that I have zero waste. I don't always have every single ingredient that is on a recipe, but I found that it's not always needed. I'm making a quick chili oil with paprika to dress the top of the soup. I'll put what I don't use in a bottle to use in the future. The first time I ate this, I forgot the lemon, and what a difference the lemon made. It really helped to balance out the cumin and brighten up the dish. It was a very, very well-rounded soup with the addition of the lemon. If you don't like cumin, obviously I wouldn't add it here, but our family does, so we really enjoyed this, and I would definitely make this again. Next time, I'd like to try this with bulgur and fresh mint as a topping. I'm excited to try this dish because I've never made pozole before. I'll put the ingredients list for you in the description. I'm not using this carton of broth. I'm not sure why I pulled it out of my cupboard. I definitely don't need it because we'll be making our own broth and I'll be supplementing with the chicken bouillon. I only use 4 of the tomatillos and 1 of the peppers. I did modify this recipe slightly in order to please my family. I love the tang of tomatillos, but if that's not your thing, then certainly you could make a red pozole by just using regular tomatoes. Alternatively, you could just make a regular pozole and leave out tomatoes and tomatillos. I'm using 5 of the chicken thighs that I've taken the skin off of. I'm saving 2 of the thighs because my son loved the last chicken dish I made so much that I want to make it for him again. And once again, I'm saving the skin for a future broth. It's the spinach that is key to that beautiful green color. Once this is cooked for about 10 minutes, I'll go ahead and add it to the broth. I'll add the hominy and continue simmering for about 20 to 25 minutes just to let those flavors fully develop. Then our soup is done and we can go ahead and plate. I love this soup. The key to its deliciousness is in all of the toppings. They complement the soup very well. The crunchiness of the cabbage is nice. I do love tomatillos. I only used 4, so it is a very mild tang. I think this is one of those recipes where it's very important to make sure and give the soup time to simmer in order to develop all of those different flavor notes. The freshness of the cilantro and lime worked really well here, and even though avocado may not be a traditional topping for the soup, I love the creaminess mixed with the flavor of the tomatillo. My son and I were playing around with the plating of the soup. He enjoyed his, even though he doesn't like tomatillos, he liked it a lot. I would definitely make this again. However, if you plan to make this, I would recommend making it on your day off if you work. There are a lot of steps involved and it would probably be a little much to do if you're working full time. This could easily be made vegetarian. Just leave out the chicken and I think it would be really delicious. For my next meal, I'm making Mexican cornbread casserole. I'll put a link to the recipe in the description. This recipe serves 8 and is a very hearty meal. For my family, I'll be making half with the ground beef and the other half I'll be making with black beans. I'll be using the other half of the ground beef in some chili that I'll be making tomorrow. Anytime a recipe makes my house smell good, then I get a special kind of joy out of that, and this did not disappoint. This was a very, very hearty meal, and it was popular with my family. My youngest son said this was his favorite recipe of the week. It was very rich and carb heavy, but having all of these lovely toppings really made this dish. I would have never tried the cabbage on top had I not already had the cabbage due to the other recipe. Because I was trying to keep my budget as low as possible this week, I planned on using those toppings that I used for the pozole here on top of the Mexican cornbread, and I honestly discovered something new. Normally I would have put lettuce on the top of that, but it was really delicious. I also do recommend sour cream here because I had sour cream in the refrigerator, but it was not part of the budget. You could eat it without it and it would be fine because you do have the tomatoes for the acidity, but I do recommend adding that to the budget if you decide to make this meal. I want to thank my viewers that have been helping me out with the super thanks. It means so much to me and it is greatly appreciated. And now I'll show you a quick visual rundown of the meals for the week. I had plenty of potatoes for 2 people for several servings of breakfast potatoes during the week. If you've never tried bananas on top of a bagel drizzled with honey and sprinkled with black sesame seeds, you're missing out. I did use the black sesame seeds as a garnish, but realized when I was eating it how delicious it was. My youngest son's favorite meal was the Mexican cornbread casserole. My favorite meal was the pozole, and Justin's favorite meal was the Cooking Light chicken recipe. He thought that was amazing. I was planning to make a chili with the white beans and the other half of the ground beef, but I ended up just making a pot of beans. That's what I ended up feeling like I wanted. So I did have half of the pound of ground beef left over, but you could have added that to the casserole. In fact, that's probably what I should have done. I did end up adding some of the white beans to the pozole at the very end, and it made it a little bit more filling. That's the only problem with a soup, is that it doesn't really stick with you that well, but the nice thing is it is gluten-free and it is healthy. You know, you're not doing a huge carb overload with that, but it was really good and I enjoyed it. I thought that the beauty of that dish was really in the toppings. You will probably be able to get a better deal on the chicken than I did. You could also substitute out drumsticks. However, you're going to have to experiment a little bit with that if you do. When I was filming for an upcoming $5 food adventure video, I found those chicken thighs on a really good deal, but it had a super long line and I didn't have time to wait for it. I do hope you'll tune in for that new video because I discovered some great money saving tips. That's it guys, I hope you like my video. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.